For us, we're never going to win the signing day, but we'll win. Our goal is to win 2 or 3 years later on, and we're going to recruit the right guys that fit who we are and what we're about. I think the positive for us is, to have some of the success that we've been able to have positionally with our players and proving that we can develop and grow the players in our program. I think, it's certainly allowed us to have credibility rather than just a vision. There's some credibility and belief and some visual to the vision of what we were selling maybe year 1, 2, or 3.
So Matt, I know you have another game before them, but considering the fans returning this year, and how their success against you, does the Iowa game take on even more importance than it already had?
No, I don't think so. For me, I think that just in general, like you said, I mean, what an opportunity for, what makes college athletics really special is the engagement with the student body, the engagement with, these playing at really unique places and different places. And obviously in the Big 12, there's so many great environments to play college football in, and certainly Jack Trice is a special place to play college football. So, I think for us, just the opportunity to be back in front of fans, I think most importantly for our players, that makes it really special to be a college athlete, and to have that back, I think will be awesome for all of college athletics, and I'm really excited for our own kids. It was huge for Brees because he can go on. He's a physical presence. He's a really good runner. So I'm really anxious for Jirel to kind of get rolling, and he's had a phenomenal offseason. I will say this: I think Deion Silas, a young guy that came in, has been certainly a special, type athlete that's going to be really fun to see what he brings to that room. Eli Sanders just got on board, so it'll be really fun to see what he does. So I think we've got a chance to maybe be better as a room than what we've been. But, obviously the more we can take pressure off him and let him be his best when he needs to be his best, that'll certainly be advantageous for us. No, I don't know if we've overblown it. I think the reality is what we've decided to do. I don't know who decided this, but you've decided to take an 18 to 22-year-old student athlete and you put real life decisions on his plate, and you've created this perception of what it is and what it's not, and so I think it becomes really challenging, to be honest with you. You're talking about tax laws, taxes, all these kind of things that, you're asking a 18 to 22-year-old to do, and yet we don't do that till you're 23, 24 in the real world, so just a lot of stuff that I think is just learning. It's growing. It's our job as the professional and the teacher to be prepared to teach and guide young people. I do think it'll sort itself out somewhere in the middle sooner than later. But, I don't spend a whole lot of time on it other than the educational piece. You go back to that junior highlight film, it's not long. And Brees, his sophomore year, was playing JV football because there was a really good player in front of him as a junior. His junior film is really impressive, and there's about 5 plays on there that are like elite. And one of the things when I watch that film, we're the first ones offer him, is because it's like, this is a no-brainer. And to me, I can compare the videotape to Kareem Hunt, to David Montgomery, to David Fluellen, and it's like, where does he stack in all those guys? Oh, he's there, here, and here. Now we just got to develop him to get him to where he can be that consistently. And Brees had such great videotape evidence at a young age in that junior videotape that there was no question I knew what he could become. Now, so I'll never forget Greg coming on his official visit to Ames. I remember sitting with his mom and sitting with her and Greg at lunch, and just thinking, this guy gets it. He had his experience when he went to Ole Miss. It wasn't a great experience for him. He ends up going back and finishing his degree so he can be eligible, at a junior college. But the maturity that he spoke with, and Greg's been through real life experiences. He's been through hard in life, and he's responded. And I think anytime that's life, right? Like who we become, how we respond to adversity. And Greg was a guy that had to do that early in his life, and not even just with the Ole Miss process, a lot of areas. And yet his maturity and looking for culture, home, the right fit, that was really important. And so, I really think that day sitting there at Wallabies in Ames, Iowa with his mom is when I was like, man, this guy's a really special human being. And did I know he'd be a great football player on top of it? I don't know that, but I knew, boy, he can come into our locker room and bring a lot of wisdom and a lot of care. And so now he's had a great football career and brought that wisdom and care, and for me, that's been transformational for us. Now it's, man, how do you get off to a great start in September? And I just think it's global. I think all those things come back on me as the head coach. I've got to be better in terms of really creating a plan that allows us to be our best. And college football is unique because you only get 12 guaranteed opportunities. And, you got to be your best in those 12 guaranteed opportunities. And so, I just think it's a growth. I think last year you look at us, I thought we were a lot better. You take out the first game, obviously, and certainly credit because we played a really good team. But I don't think we played our best, but I think after that we were able to play really good football. So, I just think those are things that you're always measuring and evaluating and trying to get your team in a schedule that allows your group to be their best when their best is needed. Probably say this and say, you're full of it, but to me, I've never got wrapped up in that aspect of it. The greatest thrill I think that I still take in coaching is when you see a young person sacrifice greatly in football, especially college football, is made up of the moments, right? And you either win the moment or you lose the moment. And if you win the moment more times than not, then you're going to end up winning the game. And really what our job is to prepare these guys to win the moment. And, that takes, you're asking an 18 to 22-year-old to grow from a young man into being a man with consistency and the ability to, you live life the right way, you take care of yourself, you apply all this for these opportunities. There's only 12 of them. And, you got to be ready for the moment. You don't know when it's coming, you don't know how, but you got to be ready to take advantage of it. And so, I think my joy is watching when we do those things and the sense of accomplishment that they get when they win the moment, either individually or collectively. Well, I can't say anything bad or I lose my Purple Raider membership, you know what I mean? So, but I obviously from my end, you've watched what Alex has done. Alex is he's a brilliant football mind. He's a great teacher. Alex knows how to hold the standard and hold great accountability. And what you've watched over the last 2 years is an evolution of, recruiting to that and doing an incredible job of just getting better game in and game out. So none of it shocks me. Obviously just a big fan of Alex, a big believer in who he is as a leader, equally as what he is as a football coach. So, a great admirer of his, great friend of his, but somebody that I got a ton of respect for professionally. Sean Shaw, Easy Anderson, Tristan Mashad, we've got about, and that's not negating Sean because Sean's ready to take another big step forward. But man, some of those guys on the other side of certainly what we've got in Joe Skates, there's a lot of guys and a lot of ability out there, but I'd like to see consistency from somebody opposite of what Xavier's given us. But, I think a lot of it's just been growing up, young process growing into an older process, and Sean kind of falls in that suit, had a really positive freshman year. COVID kind of hits, derail. I think he really needed that spring, and I think at times showed some flashes of what he can do last fall, but really looking for him to put it all together coming in this fall.